I was just really happy to have Channing Tatum back. This is a love fest for Channing Tatum. I hope he watches this because I really missed him. Hey guys, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing The Lost City, which was once called The Lost City of D, and I am so happy they changed that title, even though some jokes were still written with the original title in mind. Some jokes landed, some didn't, but I'll get into that afterwards. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the unlikely pairing of Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. Now, this is the first time that they've ever shared a screen. I thought their romantic chemistry was really strong. It's very subtle, mostly leaning on Channing Tatum's side, on Alan's side of the character. And I found that it was really nice and not overpowering the action or the adventure. So I think that the romance aspect was just like sprinkled throughout incredibly well, and it just pulls on the heartstrings. I think that Channing Tatum is really underrated as an actor, underrated as a comedic actor. I think his comedic timing is really strong. I think his line delivery is top notch. He's very sarcastic, very sassy, which is something that you don't see from a leading man. So I think that he's just really underused and I think underappreciated. I mean, from romantic films like Step Up to romantic comedies like She's the Man to 21 Jump Street, which was a straight up buddy cop comedy and it was great for him. Then you have Magic Mike, which does boost the romantic aspect of it, but it's still a lot of fun. And he just plays this really charismatic character in all of them. And he does have a screen presence. So I was just really happy to have Channing Tatum back. This is a love fest for Channing Tatum. I hope he watches this because I really missed him. I didn't realize how much I did. So I'm really happy that The Lost City is out right now in theaters. I love that Sandra Bullock came back as well before she goes on this like hiatus that she said that she's kind of like semi-retiring from acting. So this was a really strong film, and what I liked about it the most was that it was more of a female journey, and have a middle-aged author named Loretta Sage, played by Sandra Bullock, who takes a break from writing and takes a break from her life basically after her husband passes away. She can't really move forward with her writing. She has writer's block. Her creativity isn't really flowing as it used to be because she's been grieving. So she stays at home. She just doesn't want to go out. She doesn't want to move forward, and it's hard. We've all grieved the loss of a loved one, and sometimes it's harder than it seems to kind of let go of the past and push forward with someone that you thought would be in your life forever. So it's such a really difficult time for Loretta, but her manager, Kate, her publicist, has this book tour that she's been pushing and she wants her to come back out. I also thought that Divine Joy Randolph was a breath of fresh air in this movie. I thought she was absolutely hilarious. There is literally a piece that she talks about just being overly tired and just pushing forward without rest. And I have never laughed so hard at a line delivery in my life. It was just so funny. She was great. The whole cast is great. We have all of that going for Loretta. It's a very emotional time for her, and she has a group of people surrounding her that really just want to push her out of her, her comfort zone, her home that she's been living in. So she ends up going on this book tour, and Dash in the books is Alan, her cover model, which is Channing Tatum, goes on this book tour with her. He's kind of like this generic model, so it's more of like a stereotypical type of perspective that she has of him, and she doesn't really know who he is. So on this book tour, Alan Dash comes out on stage in typical Channing Tatum fashion. He has this beautiful blonde hair, like a Maybelline commercial, and he just sells it. He's so confident and charismatic that he just sells this character no matter how wacky it is. So I love that. Loretta really tries to not make her novel that deals heavily in like archaeological findings and the history of the Spanish Inquisition and all of that. Like, she really tries to ground it in the history of it because that's what ties her to her husband. Meanwhile, these women really fall into the romantic aspect of this novel, and that's what she was trying to get away from. But that's what sells, unfortunately. Sex sells, and that's why she kind of pulled back a bit, because the tie to her husband was so great to her that her fans don't really realize why she even wrote the book in the first place. I think that's also a struggle for her, to be in an environment that no one really understands what she's going through. No one understands the novel itself except for her as the writer. So Daniel Radcliffe comes in as the villain, and he is unhinged. We have never seen Dan Rad in a movie like this. He was so funny. He's so funny. He had such great range in this. He went from really sweet and kind to asking for what he wants from Loretta Sage in such a nice way. And then obviously when he doesn't get what he wants, he snaps. He turns the other way. And it's a lot of fun. The one thing I will say is that you can't really take this film too seriously. Is it a generic adventure film? Yes. But when we get these generic adventure films that don't really have much to build off of, it's always the connection to the main characters and the emotional connection that they bring within the story. So I think that's what kind of elevates it and makes it different a bit, but it's still fun. It's still good fun. These are movies that we need. We need these action adventure comedies. We need these romantic subplots. We need all of that. It's such a refreshing film in contrast to everything that's coming out in theaters. There's a lot of horror films coming out. It's really hard to find just a dumb, fun movie with great actors at the forefront. And The Lost City does this. Are there some really cool action scenes? Yeah. Are they generic? Yes. But like Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum going back and forth with their banter just makes it so much more fun and enjoyable, especially navigating their way through the jungle. Like both of them have no idea how to do that, but they end up doing it. So it just makes it a lot of fun. You're plucking an author and a cover model out of their regular life and putting them in the jungle and seeing what happens. So I think the tension was great throughout. I thought they built great anticipation in certain action scenes. And honestly, like Channing Tatum is so charming. It's really hard to not feel for him. Alan really went out of his way to rescue Loretta. He called Jack Traynor for help and he still wanted to be the one to rescue her, but Jack Traynor just took over because it's freaking Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt is a really cool character actor. I want to see more work from him in this case, but also similar to Channing Tatum, he has this boyish charm. So it's just an interesting dynamic of like Brad Pitt and Channing Tatum having these like charming qualities to them. And it just works because it's this genre and you can just go with it. So I really enjoyed The Lost City. I thought it was fun. I was dying of laughter at certain times. Some jokes did not land, and you could tell that like they were writing the joke hoping that it was gonna stick instead of it actually like flowing through the lines of dialogue and making it kind of, I guess you could ad-lib certain things, but they really stuck to like the punchlines, they stuck to the jokes, and then that's where it kind of got lost a bit. I did give The Lost City a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It's a good film. It's a lot of fun to sit back, unwind, shut your brain off, and just enjoy the characters, enjoy these two actors. I think that it does tell a really beautiful story for Loretta Sage in her own adventure in leaving the house and leaving her husband and those memories in the past in order for her to move forward. And I think that's a really beautiful message in this case, because you're not technically leaving the person. You're not technically saying goodbye. You're just closing that chapter of that book with said person in order to move forward, because the memories are always going to be there. They're always going to be in your heart, in your mind, in your soul. And I think that it's such a healthy message that they gave off in this film. And it's very female centric. I really love that it was all about Loretta and her journey, and they really put the focus on that. She was the one rescuing Alan, and Alan was the damsel in distress. And he says that at one point, but like it's Channing Tatum, so it makes complete sense that he would be the damsel in distress. But yeah, it was great. It's a good time. If you guys want to go check it out this weekend, definitely do so. If you want to wait for it to come on a streaming service, maybe try that. But it is a decent watch. It's a lot of fun, and you're gonna fall in love with Channing Tatum all over again. He had great chemistry. So if you guys enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.